Welcome to Straight Up Dog Talk, a new kind of podcast where no topic is off limits. We're bringing in experts and owners to have the conversations we should be having as a dog community. Each week, a new guest will share firsthand experiences, educational resources, or professional guidance to help you learn and grow along with your dog. You won't get one perspective here, you'll get them all, because every dog is different and every owner is too.
You can follow along on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook at Straight Up Dog Talk, or by visiting www.straightupdogtalk.com. Tune in from any of your favorite podcast platforms.
This episode is sponsored by our good friends from Fat Sam's for Pets. Help your pets live their best lives, happy and calm and pain-free with help from fatsamsforpets.com. Need an easy way to dose by weight for a starting point? Try their infused peanut butter, pumpkin peanut butter dog treats, or their super clean, full-spectrum oil for pets. Use code SUDT at fatsamsforpets.com to save 10% on your purchase today. Welcome to Straight Up Dog Talk. I'm Em, and we're back again with Josh.
Hello.
And this week we have Joel, and he is going to be talking about bully breeds, separation anxiety, and rescuing dogs. How are you doing, Joel?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Super excited to have you here.
Excited to be here. I love any chance I get to talk about the dogs. I'm there.
I'd love to hear it. Yes, dogs are life for sure. Well, Joel, why don't you tell us just a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and a little bit about your dogs?
Okay. I live in Illinois, about an hour outside of Chicago. Well, a small community. So lots of dogs, because lots of place to run and lots of area. Family-wise, married, 2 kids. My 2 kids have been doing wonderful with my dogs, learning many things as it comes to animals and things like that. I did get years ago my ABC Animal Behavior College certification in dog training, primarily to learn how to handle my own dog. So I had a Cocker Spaniel that had eaten me out of every leather thing I own. So it works great. I've been able to put that into practice many years since. But that's it. I'm a special ed teacher, para. I work in special ed as a job coach. I also have my RBT, Registered Behavioral Tech license, more behavior-based with ABCDs and things like that. I think my job and a little bit of the training that I've had with the dog training has been incredible to cover both areas. And it's very interesting as you get into that area with human behavior, animal behavior, positive and negative consequences, and things like that. It's very similar and very, very cool to study. One of the best parts about my job coach experience is I get to work 2 days a week at a kennel, a local kennel. So I get to see all kinds of wonderful dogs coming in. She grooms and trains and does some competitions and things like that. So it's fun to see both your worlds collide sometimes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really awesome. What a fun way to spend your week. Like, how diverse to do something different and still have a routine at the same time.
Yes.
I would absolutely love to just spend a day in a groomer's facility. I've always worked with groomers. When I worked at the animal hospital inside PetSmart, we worked with those groomers. And when I worked at the private vet, we had a groomer in-house. But I've never just sat in a grooming place all day and just watched, because is it chaos? Like, is it crazy in there?
Yes.
No sugarcoating.
Lots of noise, lots of barking, lots of talking and conversations going on. But wonderful, like just the life and the smells. I don't know. I'm one of those weird ones. I don't mind wet dog smell. I can take it.
I don't mind wet dog smell either. I also am like that person that's like, oh, that dog has puppy breath, put it in my face.
Right.
Yeah, my wife is the person that's like, oh my God, this room smells like dog. And I was like, well, the alternative is it's smelling like us. So I'd much rather it smell like dog.
Yes.
Exactly.
And they spray some nice stuff on those dogs. So there's some good scents coming out of some of those groomers. Like, got some good smells.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, let's talk a little bit about your dogs, Abner and Cass. Let's why don't you just share their stories, because they're both rescue dogs and they both have very unique stories, and they were both a little bit of a handful, and we like to hear these good stories.
They were both a bit of a handful. It all started, I had a Cocker Spaniel named Max. He had him for about 6 months to 11 years old. Lost him back in April, I believe it was, end of April. Just just an amazing family dog. Just loved that guy so much. Before he passed away, I knew towards the end he had mouth cancer on his left side. We got that taken care of. Within a couple of weeks later, mouth cancer on the right, grew back twice his size. So there was just nothing else we could do. So when I saw the end there, I had talked to a friend about possibly fostering and what that all entailed. And she had said, well, I don't have anything yet, but it was close to Christmas. And within about maybe a week later, she said, oh, I've got somebody for it. So our first dog was Murray. He was about a 13-year-old dog, amazingly trained. He would literally back up into a bush to use the toilet, which is just, he terrified me the first night because no one told me this. So he's my first dog I ever fostered, and here he's backing into a bush where I never saw him before. Took care of business. Our yard was completely clean with him. I had a lot of fun with him. I wrote a lot of funny Facebook posts about him to get him adopted and things like that, which connected me with the company Canine Enrichment Initiative, Cynthia Guzman, who I was fostering for. And she asked me to write for her Facebook post. So I was able to put some humor in each Facebook post and really gather some attention and to just be true to the dog and its personality, which is something else we'll talk about too. The personality is huge. So that led me to, there was a couple that had a dog and they were going on vacation and needed somebody to watch them. They lived close to us and we said, sure. So Abner came into our lives. I had written about Abner a couple of times, and I was always intrigued about his look. He's just so unique. And so he came into our lives for a week, was a holy terror. I mean, just a muck of the house. And I fell in love with him.
Best dogs are.
Yes.
Sir. Oh, I say that all the time. I just fell in love with him. Well, I had to give him up because the family came back to pick him up. And about 2 weeks later, there were some reactive issues with their dog and Abner. And they just were like, man, we love him so much. It's just the dogs won't handle it. And so I said, I'll take him. So I grabbed him and pretended for my family's sake to just post him on Facebook for a while, even though I knew very well I was going to take him when I pulled him in the house. And he's been with us almost 2 years now. We lost Max, like I said, back in April, and we had another dog that Cynthia Guzman had. He was a pit bull terrier. His name's Cass. Same thing. We had foster vacationed him for a week. And this guy's story, let me talk about it. Should I talk about this guy's story?
Yeah.
So this will lead us to the separation anxiety because this guy was, he had torn through a door. He's 48 pounds. And he had torn through a door because he didn't like to be in a room. He had damaged cages. He has just destroyed couches. He was just a mess. I know when I had him for a week, he ripped a pair of my shorts, like just got him and took off with half my shorts. He was just a total mess. And it points, different places. And the Cynthia Guzman, the owner of the foster, said no one wanted to take him, so she had kept him. So I remembered that he was still out there. So I called her up and I said, hey, you guys still Cass? So she didn't really believe that I was going to take him, but I said, you guys come and visit. We'll see how it goes. So my family and I and Abner went out there, and it was like he missed us. We missed him. We brought him home. He had his issues for the first month or two, kind of just aggression and things that he just didn't know. But now he just sleeps with us in our bed. He cuddles nonstop. We don't, he's just like become the perfect dog.
Did he miss you, or do you want the rest of the shorts?
Thankfully,
There's some unfinished business.
usually you never achieved that. Keep the important part of the shorts. But yeah.
Oh my goodness. Let's talk a little bit about their breeds, because you did say, and I've seen pictures of Abner. This is where we like to bring Josh in, because Josh he's never seen any pictures of your dogs. He doesn't know anything about them and their crazy behaviors. But Abner is a very unique looking dog. So let's talk a little bit about him, and then we'll talk about Cass.
Abner is a mix of, I just can't even tell you how many, probably. We should do a study on him at some point. Most people that see him automatically think Doberman. He has the reddish Doberman face and hair. He has Chesapeake Bay, really thick hair, and it's darkish brown. And then the tan kind of blonde highlights. With a little bit of retriever. He's got the web feet. So he's at about 60 pounds, 62 pounds. So he's a good size house dog. Cass is a pit bull terrier, full blood, black with white chest, big old head, a tiny little butt. He weighs 48 pounds.
Yeah,
He wears a ball of steel. He had FHO surgery. He broke his hip at birth or soon after that, and had some atrophy in his leg, which was able to be healed and massaged and worked through with some therapy. And now he's just a tank. Now he's broken 2 of our dog chains. They're just like, boom. And he never runs. He just comes right back to the door. Like, look what I did, like he's flexing on us or something. It's quite funny. But yeah, that's my 2 crazies.
Bullies, man. They're something else. But yeah, Abner, it's so funny. I really think that you should do a DNA test on him, because we are going to do an episode where we have people come back and do their DNA test reveals. And Josh said it's going to be like Maury Povich.
It's going to be a reverse Maury episode.
Yeah, you are not a pit bull. So, we're going to do some of that kind of stuff. But Abner, he looks like a red Doberman, which is, a really coveted coat color and breed because it's so rare. And
it's so beautiful.
He's hanging out.
Yeah, Cass. No, that's, they got Cass out of here so they won't fight. Yeah, that's all.
He's like, yeah, I'm just going to chill here.
He's pretty good. Just relax. Oh, it's going to follow me.
So initially you said, Abner did fine when he acclimated okay to your home and your living situation, and you just wanted to get a second dog. Was it because of his activity level or because he was used to having another dog?
Well, they both have separation anxiety. Abner specifically rarely had a home that he lived in until he came here. A lot of it was foster. So never had a permanent home. So I think just as people, they need stability. They need that to know that they have that love. They have that meal that's coming. They don't have to go find it, forage it, run away for it. And I saw Abner slowly begin to progress towards that. At first, he would never sleep outside of his kennel. He was always very anxious of making sure he was awake. And then we would put him in his kennel, he'd go right to sleep. Probably a learned behavior, but also I think some of that anxiety too, just I can't sleep out of my comfort zone. So we were able to fix that. But I think also just him being able to become more comfortable with it changes so much. I think in fostering and adopting, people connect that anxiety with the pet. Like that pet may come in with anxiety that may, and they think, oh, now I'm anxious. And there's just this give and take of anxiety and what's going to happen? What's he going to do? And I think anxiety is not the pet. It's the symptom of the pet, which they can be pulled out and taken away. Only through love and just loving your pet, making them feel safe, comfortable, knowing they're there constantly, knowing, they have the right smells and things like that. So that's what definitely changed Abner. Cass, on the other hand, is also stubborn. So you put a dog who's had several fosters, early FHO surgery, lots of medical stuff, lots of people in and out of his life that were helping him with massages and different things. And all that stuff and braces and all this. To have him then come in and get one family and try to stay with them. It was very interesting. The first time my mom came over, he thought, because Cynthia and her are the same age, that it's time to go back with whoever took me. That was the same age. So he wanted to follow her home, and we had to convince him, no, you're staying. He wanted to visit. So for him, a lot of love, but a lot of consistency. His food had to be the same time. His bedtime, same time. We already have consistency in our home as far as my work schedule. I'm always on and back the same time. So a lot of that really helped his anxiety just slowly go away. The most beautiful thing between both of them, though, is neither of them could stay out of the kennel when we were gone. They would tear the place apart. Now, they're out of the kennel. I never put them in the kennel. They're out all the time, just having the time of their life, and I never pull them to a mess. Because now they have not only the human companionship, but each other's companionship. And I've had people, as I post pictures on Facebook, people that know them will say, I still don't understand how those two guys could be friends, who have fostered them or something. They're just like, how can the two craziest ones that our fosters had become the best of friends that just sleep together all the time and hang out? It's really cool.
Well, I think that, there's a lot to that process. And like you said, consistency is a huge part of that. But, that settling in and letting them decompress and kind of really figure out who they are as individuals in the home is really important. And whether that's a dog that's from a foster or you've gotten a puppy, any rescue situation, any dog as an individual needs to have that time to acclimate to a new place. And a lot of people don't give dogs that time. They try to rush them and they try to push the training and they try to enforce the rules. And the dog is just then getting all of this negative feedback. And now we've built up anxiety and we've caused separation issues and behavior things like ripping up couches because we didn't slowly set them up for success. We didn't give them time to become the dog that they needed to. We've talked about this before and we're going to talk about it again because you can't just look at Instagram and go, I want that dog. Okay. You go out and you get that dog that looks like that dog.
And it needs to act exactly like that dog.
But it's not good. And that's what people think. They think, oh, I have this dog, magic, poof. Now this dog is going to behave. It's going to sit. It's going to know when to eat. It's going to know how to walk. It's going to
like a German Shepherd would.
Yeah. No, that's the thing is that this whole illusion that social media has created, we're just showing portions of people's lives. And that's what initially attracted me to your TikTok account is because you're showing these two dogs just all over the house. And I freaking love it because they're playing with each other. You're throwing a ball. And then, 2 days later, they're both laying on their backs, looking up at you, and their snouts are in the air. And you can just tell, how much time and attention and affection that you give them. And I love seeing that relationship.
I think, like you said it best, the bad dogs are the good dogs. And we say bad dogs in the right context. We don't want dogs that are going to attack us. But bad dogs in the sense, the mischievous dogs, the ones that are kind of, you got to put your eye on a lot, and have a lot of energy. As I said, we had Max for a while, the Cocker Spaniel. That guy he was a lap dog, loved to sleep. And he would bore me sometimes. He was just too good. He would come when he called. He'd wait when he needed to wait. We didn't have to put him on a leash. He was just a really good dog. So Abner and Cass in our life definitely makes it more interesting.
A little bit of chaos isn't bad. I have a chaos dog. Fitz is a chaos dog. I like the ones that are a little challenging too. I like the ones with funny ears and big personalities.
I had Odie. So
yes,
Odie was insane. He was a little 8-pound Yorkie that was a cross between a regular Yorkie and a teacup. So he had teacup behaviors, and he was bigger than a teacup, but not by much.
But he thought he was 120 pounds.
Well, also, there was no training that dog.
No.
If he did not want to do something, he just would not.
So He was a very stubborn little dog, but man, he had a big old personality.
Right.
That's funny.
I know we talked a little bit about the separation anxiety, but let's talk a little bit about how you dealt with that. Because, I mean, you integrated two very different dogs that didn't like other dogs, that didn't, do well in the multitude of situations. And that's why they got shifted around as much as they did. And then, of course, they both got super lucky and landed with you, who's so patient and so good with them. And I want to know how you did that, because I want other people to hear about how that is a process and how it takes time, but also maybe give people some ideas on how to handle situations in their own.
No, thank you very much for saying that. I appreciate that. I think knowledge, like you said, it does take time. As I said, I mean, I've had Abner for 2 years, and 2 days ago, his chain broke and he ran away, and we looked for him for an hour and a half. I mean, yeah, life's messy with these dogs, and they complicate life sometimes, but I cannot imagine coming home to a house without Abner jumping up on me as I walk in the door either. So it's a give and take. I think it is a process of just understanding that although they're not human, they do thrive on love. They do thrive on the connection. They don't like to be separate from you. They don't like to be felt like they're not connected or part of your pack. Bringing them into your pack doesn't mean that you accept their bad behavior or obviously things like that. But it obviously also doesn't mean that you're always concerned with them on their case. Don't do that, don't do that. I mean, there needs to be some openness. As you said before, my profession connects to it because of the positive, negative consequence, positive, negative punishment. Those things are things to know. Anybody should know those as a dog trainer. They're easy to find. Just Google them. Quick Google search. But it will open the window to understanding what that dog is thinking. Like his behavior is happening because of X, and this is how you treat it, and so things like that. So I think that connection has helped. Having those that knowledge and understanding has definitely helped. I think the best command I ever learned was leave it. That is the best dog command I've ever taught, and I learned it on a funny way. I was running in town here. I live in a very small town, and there was a very large greyhound that was walking with this short lady, and he was just kind of looking at me and started to have a little low rumble, and she just said, leave it. And then he turned and walked right with her. And it just dawned on me, I've used that for food for many years, but I've never used it for every other object. So now they come near it, I say, leave it, and they know, and it's reinforced their food time. So I set Abner's food down, Cass's food down. I tell them each individual to leave it, and now they do it so much better. It's not jumping and attacking you when it's dinner time and things like that. So if any advice to learn with a dog is teach it and leave it. Start out very small, set something down and just say, leave it, and pull it away before they grab it. Try to trick them. Just let them know that you're not going to give it to them unless you say, take it. That's helped me huge. I think goal with expectations is huge too. It's not always going to go right. You will lose a pair of shoes sometimes. I have. But the advantages outweigh any pair of shoes I've ever had. I mean, even though they are bad pups in a sense, and I'm sure there are more Maxes that would come into my house that would be just, docile little creatures. But I just love them. I mean, they're just everything. They're just great friends and great animals and great cuddling with you and no anxiety and, just enjoying being next to them. So outlook the bad when the negative is so much better, when what they're offering you is so much more than, okay, so you had a mess. I see so many people say, well, he's not, going outside. Well, it's not necessarily his fault or her fault. I mean, we need to remember that you are the human. You're the brain behind his behavior. So let's work with both of you. But it's worth it to graduate to that knowledge and understand.
When I was much younger, when I was a kid, the first dog in my house was a black Cocker Spaniel named Medianoche.
Yes.
I was out at scout camp, I think. He dug up my mom's entire flower garden, and she gave him up. She just took him immediately to the shelter and gave him up. Felt bad about it a couple hours later and went back, but he was a 3-year-old male black Cocker Spaniel. He was gone.
Oh,
But I mean, I've had so many conversations with her where I'm like, yes, you were very, very angry. You worked very hard on your garden. You bought a Cocker Spaniel. You can't expect a Cocker Spaniel not to.
isn't their middle name Digging?
Yeah. Like it is what they do, you know?
If they saw a groundhog in that garden would have been gone.
Right. Like
quicker.
it was like when I first got my first dog, Oliver. He was a Yorkshire Terrier, and we were out walking. I was walking him in the middle of winter, and he saw his first ever mouse. And I had no idea what happened, because that dog, who was so calm, so all of his genetics turned on all at once, and leash was out of my hand. I've never felt him pull like that. Again, know the breed of dog that you're committing to.
Yes, accept the dog for who they are. Use the tools, like Joel said, use the tools. It's called the humane hierarchy. You can look it up. I will try to find a link to put in the episode notes, but it's literally, it outlines what you can do and how to identify the problems with your dogs that you're having and how to modify the behaviors to make it better for everyone in the household. But again, that you got to be able to identify that. You have to accept the dog for who the dog is. You have to know their personality, and then you have to be the brain and counteract those behaviors.
And part of that is absolutely genetics.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yes.
Some of that stuff you can't fix.
Yeah.
You cannot fix some of it. There's aggressive behaviors you cannot fix. There are, just breed-specific behaviors that you cannot fix. Chasing things, digging things, those are all natural to the dogs. You can't just expect those things to go away.
I don't understand why this boxer is just so full of energy.
Yeah, no, that's if you get a boxer, you better be prepared to work.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a whole different kind of energy.
Yes. And I think you had mentioned about that earlier. It's just having the knowledge to understand that it's just like anything. And I don't think we're to the society where everything breaks, we throw it away. But if something, I by no means say that human and children and dogs are the same, but you're not gonna maybe in their noise level, I don't know. So, but you're not gonna throw them away. You're not gonna give them away when they disobey or they do something. I mean, it's the same. It's like you take on this responsibility. And I'll harp on this forever as someone who's fostered and adopted. Even if you don't want him, if he's come into your life and become a struggle, learn how to love him. Take him to training. You took on the responsibility, love the animal. You'd be amazed how that personality comes out. Abner's and Cass's personality didn't come out probably till about 2 or 3 months into them being there. And then I started to see all of a sudden this most adorable, loving Abner, who was this just wouldn't sit by you for 3 seconds, bouncing off the walls. And then now he just wants to cuddle. It was like such a reward. And now to have him, I come home, no matter where I am, he's there. And he's wants to play. He wants to just hang. I mean, it's just great.
Velcro dogs, man. Those are the best dogs.
Yeah.
You get them from naughty to Velcro and in it.
Yes, you are. He's mine. My son tells me he gets so mad. He's like, man, that dog loves you. Because he wants to sleep with him. He wants to hang out with him. And I'm like, I'm not doing anything. He's just, he's made up his mind. So
the dogs are funny like that. I have a dog that's my Velcro dog. Fitz is, attached to my hip. He always wants to be with me. It doesn't matter who comes over. It doesn't matter who's bribing him. He might go sneak a treat from my roommate or my roommate's son. just because they're offering it, but he's going to be right back there by me. Toby's a traitor. He doesn't care. He's like, oh, that person's going to pet me. I'm over there. Oh, that person has food. I'm over there. Eventually, yes, he will be back and he will be pressed up right against me when we go to bed at night, but he's a traitor.
Yes, man, that is chaos. That is like my definition of chaos to a T. At nighttime, he'll be like right on my back, his 10-pound head on my head or something. But through the day, it'll be sister, just running around, something. But yeah, that's funny.
Well, I think that, two big lessons that just came right here is, one, have fun. Have fun with your dogs. Enjoy your dogs for who they are. And forgive them. They don't speak human. They don't understand they're not supposed to pee on the carpet. They don't understand they weren't supposed to eat that couch. They don't understand that that's inappropriate behavior. Dogs don't think the way that humans think. They cannot generalize. They do not understand that, leave it for food is the same as leave it when you're walking on a walk. You have to teach them those things. And if you're willing to do that and you're invested in your dog, then everything is just going to be that much more calm and scheduled and regulated for everybody. And it's going to be a lot more fun.
One of the most, I think, wonderful gifts I've been given having this job and being connected to animals this way is that there is learning how everybody communicates, because everybody does communicate different, even as humans. Like I have some students with nonverbal abilities, some students with verbal abilities, some students with trouble speaking. And so there's a way you learn what they're trying to say. It's the same with your dog. Try to sit down and listen to them. I mean, TikTok is a wonderful source. That's how I met Emily. It's been amazing. I've learned stuff from her. But TikTok's an amazing source. Just also learn where their personality comes from, how their personality comes out, how to connect with your dog. I learned there was somebody, a dog behavioralist, talking about when dogs just look at you and bark, usually their ears will point to what they want. And so I started just kind of like watching that. And I haven't totally seen that yet in my dogs, but it just now gives me the idea that, okay, he's barking at me for something, not just to be a jerk or just to, be annoying, but he wants something. So what is it? Typically, I find out. We had a student that just was having these terrible behaviors. He was nonverbal, and all he wanted was part of the strap on his wheelchair. We just need to listen more and listen differently to each person's language and the way they speak. And it just takes that understanding. But it's sad that we can't even open that up with an animal and just be that to an animal. It was no sense at all trying to hurt us. Like Edward Cass never wanted to hurt me. He just didn't know how to react and how to act. And so it's my responsibility to learn their language and help them through that.
I completely agree. And this, goes back all the way to Lauren's episode 3, where she says, she's a good listener. And that's exactly what it is. And if you're paying attention, if you're slowing down enough and bringing it down to the dog's level, you can absolutely figure it out. Getting frustrated, getting mad, it happens. Do I get upset with my dogs? Yes. My reaction to Fitz doing something that I don't want him to do is not, no, it's not stop doing that. It's, dude, what are you doing? Come on, man. I try to be very cool and calm when I react to something that I dislike that he's doing. Are there days that I have just wanted to scream? Yes. There have days I have cried because he just, has just taken me to a point where I'm like, whoa, man, we got to step back a couple of times. But I've done exactly what you just said, is I've found resources and I have learned to come to his level. And let's just go back and make this point again, because it's going to be valid on every episode for the rest of time. Let's be careful about who we're taking advice from. We don't want to be taking advice from people who are preaching things like dominance or popping collars or,
the cool popping the cap.
Yes.
Cool popping colors, like snapping collars.
That's an outfit. That's an outfit.
Yeah, not Not Dean Winchester.
No Jay-Z stuff, like none of that. Like I'm talking, we're using the leash to yank the collar and pop the dog.
Have a good pop.
Yeah, that's some of those are those dominant based training things that we're trying to worm our way out of. So make sure.
Well, if you're coming with love to the direction of I love my pet, I want what's best for my pet, my family, or even just myself, and you have someone that's telling you beat your dog to love you, I don't think anybody. And if we just look at it like humans, I don't want to be beat into loving somebody, you know what I mean? So why would my dog want to be beat, lovingly? It just doesn't work.
Well, and to your point, dogs and kids, right? Your kids are not going to listen if you scream at them. Why would your dog listen if you scream at them? Like, it's all about language and tone and that forgiveness and helping everybody understand the situation. And I mean, look at you. You took two crazy dogs and made them best friends. Like, that says a lot about you as a person. And when you told me that you had done the behavioral training, I was like, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense to me now, because I now understand how much time and effort that you put into this situation, because it's not something that's easily done, and not everybody can do it. Let's just flat out say that not everybody can do it. So good job. Thank you for, being the kind of person that steps up and take care of situations like that, because you and I had talked, we've talked many times, but the last time we talked, you told me something that really surprised me. You said that you didn't originally want, and you have two.
So I went to Cynthia to get Abner, and he had come from Missouri, I believe, southern Missouri. And so as she was transporting, she had some other dogs, other bully breeds, and she goes, well, once get him adopted, then come back and we'll get one of these bully breeds for it. I was like, I'd rather just more have, the mixed breeds maybe or something like that. I don't know much about the bully breeds. And I was, as the proper termination was, I was doggist. Learned the proper term. I thought.
Tell he's been educated by me.
I thought they were just, untrainable or just angry or attacking. And I just didn't want to deal with that. Well, when I had Cass, which you would think that he would be the one that would turn me completely away from, instead, his softness that has come out from the harshness and his cuddling and his just affection, faithfulness that's come out from the harshness. Now I'm like, why haven't I always had a bully breed? Like, why was I afraid of this? Why? It's because that's what they say. And you listen to the wrong people, as Emily said, you listen to the people that are about the hate, the people about the separation, and we don't want this and we don't want that. It doesn't make sense when you have a bully and they're just he is so amazing. I mean, he really is. He has a moment, but his moments now are just, a 5-minute zoomy burst that would probably knock a house over. And then that's it. And then he's on the couch sleeping with 5 hours. So
and I mean, obviously it took you a while to get there, and you did. I'm gonna actually bring up a tool, because you used a tool, and I'm gonna have you plug this tool, because the episode that we're releasing after your episode the next week is for Fat Sam's, and you used their products. You started because you were using the product for yourself.
I had talked to a friend because I had some inflammation stuff going on, and I talked to a friend. I said, hey, she was more into the herbal side, and that's where I wanted to go. I wanted to kind of stay away from the prescription. And she had mentioned CBD with Cheryl Cryer, and so got me in contact with her, and I ordered the first bottle. And I mean, it worked. It really did. And so I'd try a few months, and I was like, this is really good. So I just started to contact her. I said, hey, this is really working. Is there something else I need? So I got the right level, and I started getting these products from her that had Fat Sam's on them. And I was like, oh, and it was a dog. And so I looked up on her website, and I said, oh, she has CBDs for dogs. So this is probably about a month after I had Cass with it. So I said, oh, I need 2 CBDs for dogs. And the difference that I felt hit them the same way. I mean, Abner would not, as I said before, would not sleep out of his kennel. He had this anxiety about it, just intrepidation about what's going to happen if I do. The first time he slept outside of the kennel was probably about a week and a half, 2 weeks after he'd taken CBD, after he'd taken Fat Sam's. And it was amazing. And I have a video that I even posted. I posted on like, this is the perfect video because he's just like doing that dog thing where they're just like slowly fall to the left and the eyes are, and then they pop back up and slowly farther. And I just love it. And I even always post it. It's when the CBD hits, you know? It just knocks them right out. Cass had it once, and he wanted the whole bottle. Like, he would, and he takes it right out of the vial. Like, I shoot the vial, and he just wants to eat the thing. So, super impressed with the product. I've thanked her many times. It's definitely a must-have for both of them. It's a natural, wonderful product, and it has a lot of health benefits. But also just has a calming effect on some of these dogs. It just need a little bit of that edge taken off in the anxiety level. I mean, sometimes we all need that extra. I need that extra on a personal level, and it worked. And I think we're all kind of somewhat the same chemicals. So I think it's a great thing.
When dogs reach that certain point of overstimulation, sometimes having that, CBD to use as a tool to help them wind down past that. I know that it works for Fitz. Fitz is the same way. He gets to that point where he's so ramped up. We've been outside, we've been playing fetch for 4 or 5 hours, and he's walking around and his tongue's hanging out of the side of his face, and he can't hardly stand up anymore because, he's gotten to that point where he's just like, what? And a little bit of CBD, and he can wind down and take a nap and chill out for a little bit. And, 15
and that'd be crazy
later,
again.
Yeah, 15 minutes later, he's ready to go again. But with the CBD, we at least have a little bit more of a window.
Oh, man. Some of that respite is wonderful in the day. Yeah, for dog. A 20-minute respite is worth CBD. Because usually that 20-minute you can cut into some of those zoomy times, and it does alleviate.
Well, and that's the thing, too. You got to give it at the right time. You got to give it so that they have time to wind down into it and then rest. So, 30 minutes before or an hour before, depending on how your dog ingests it and how they, process it, because everybody's different, right? Like, I can take something and it'll kick in way faster for me than it will for Josh. And that's just, or for you, because that's everybody's body is different. So dogs are going to be different too. So it's something that you kind of have to learn to adjust for your dog's needs. But if I know that it's going to be fireworks or something like that, 30, 45 minutes before I know they're going to start, that CBD goes in, because I don't want the reactivity that's going to happen when we start hearing the big bangs.
I appreciate you said that, because you need direction. It's not a matter of just, here's, 1,000 milligrams of CBD, give it to your dog. And so I would talk to Cheryl, and she was always welcome to message me back and just say, oh, well, this is what I use this time. This is how you're reacting. Okay, well, let's try upping it or lowering it. And then sometimes I'd say, hey, try this treat, or, and send me things like that. So having someone that, one, you're connected to in a training setting, like we talked about, finding the right direction for your pet, and then having someone on that side, I mean, that's a win-win for your animal.
Well, Joel, is there anything else you'd like to share with the listeners before we wrap up tonight?
I think I talked enough. I think we covered it. I have a lot to say about my boys, though. They're big pinnacles in my life. So.
Well, we're absolutely going to share your information, your socials. Everybody should absolutely follow Abner and Cass. They're mostly on TikTok. You don't have an Instagram for them. But they are just a joy, and they are just so cute and so much fun to watch. And you really do put some great content out there. Thank you so much for coming and being open and relatable and helping other people feel like, this doesn't have to always be a struggle.
No, not at all. And any struggle it is, it's worth it. It's fine. It's having a life, enjoying ups and downs of a normal day.
Exactly. So, you guys, if you take anything from this episode, approach life like Joel with a smile and a good attitude. And we will see you next week on Straight Up Dog Talk. This episode is sponsored by our good friends from Fat Sam's for Pets. Help your pets live their best lives, happy and calm and pain-free with help from FatSamsForPets.com. Need an easy way to dose by weight for a starting point? Try their infused peanut butter, pumpkin peanut butter dog treats, or their super clean full-spectrum oil for pets. Use code SUDT at FatSamsForPets.com to save 10% on your purchase today.
Straight Up Dog Talk was created by Emily Breslin. It is edited, produced, and co-hosted by Josh Wasta under the supervision of Straight Up Dog Talk, LLC, and Emily Breslin. If you're enjoying this podcast, follow or subscribe to be sure you don't miss an episode, and leave us a review on your favorite platform. Looking for more honest and relatable dog content? Check out our sister show, Unpacked, with Jerry Sheriff and Madison Simpson. Thanks for listening to Straight Up Dog Talk. See you next week.